And welcome back. It's Social Media Monday, and tonight a street interview is trending. You've probably seen it after a reporter was attacked mid-conversation. That reporter's name is Savannah Anteo. She was talking to an unidentified woman about abortion. Here's the moment things went really left.
What I'm saying is, in general, overall, if I don't want to have a baby, I should have the choice to.
Just don't have sex then. Just don't have sex.
That's not even logical.
It is.
It is. Who are you, Nancy?
I'm down.
You
sound dumb as okay.
It does, because even as teens, people explore. And it's like, as funny as you want to be, people should still have the choice.
So you went from saying that my outfit was really cute to saying I'm an effing idiot. That's so mean.
But I think that your point of view is very obstructed, and I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
Wow. Anteo received stitches for her injuries. She reports for advocacy group Live Action. I talked with a group of guests tonight about this. Let's get to it. Joining us to talk about it, Dr. Ruth Allen Olison, who is a journalist and pastor, and Todd Smith, who is with Regal Media, also a journalist. So, guys, let's just jump in here. What happened here? Your thoughts about this and how it went left really fast. Actually, it didn't go fast. It was a long interview, and soon it went left, and it was quite ugly. Your thoughts on this, Todd?
I just think it's indicative of the time we're living in. I think even people who consider themselves journalists want to be a shock jock. Everybody wants to be that gotcha journalist. Everybody wants to go viral. Everybody wants to antagonize the other side. But sometimes when that happens, you might run into a person who isn't feeling like turning the other cheek, and they might retaliate. I'm not condoning any type of violence, but a lot of times I stay out of trouble by being respectful, by respecting people's opinions, not trying to antagonize, but try to get information out of them, get the other side of the story, or get multiple sides of the story. And a lot of times media personalities don't do that in this era, and we have politicians who encourage violence on both sides. So this is not a surprise that a situation like this turned violent.
All right, Dr. Ruth, your thoughts about this and this attack we saw on camera?
Yeah, well, this is not the kind of laying on of hands that I support. I think that we should not engage in violence. Now, having said that, when you watch the interview, you can see it keeps going up and up and up, and you couldn't forecast what was going to happen, but just the emotion that was being generated in the interview, as a professional, let me know, a spiritual person, and as a journalist, let me know this could not end well. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it turned out that way. Now, let's talk about journalism. All right. A journalist gets both sides, and this is old school. It's not the new school journalism, but it's to listen, it's to tell the story and of the person that you are interviewing. It's not to provoke. So there was some provoking going on as well. So I think there is something on both sides. There's some blame that can go on both sides. But in any event, I don't think the hitting is justified.
And Todd, one of the things Dr. Olison said, as a journalist, we are supposed to give both sides and remain neutral. Obviously, in this video, this journalist, this new media, she wasn't neutral. She was advocating for a side. And as a result, trying to get the answer that we would assume, make her video hotter, which it turned out to be too damn hot for TV and social media. But is there an issue when people call themselves a journalist and they are advocating for a particular side?
Yeah, I wear both hats sometimes, and I try to definitely let people know, okay, I'm reporter Todd now as opposed to commentator. But I tell my friends all the time who aren't in the media, because they don't know who to trust. I said, if you know where a reporter stands on the issue, then they didn't do their job. You should not know I'm pro-life. You should not know I'm pro-choice. You should know that I'm covering the abortion issue. You know, so that's the problem now. Advocacy has always been a part of journalism because we seek the truth. We hold people accountable, but you should never know how I feel about a political issue if I'm covering it as a journalist. Now, if I'm giving my opinion, I'm going to say what I am, but people need to know the difference. There's a difference. Every journalist is in the media, I always say, but everybody in the media is not a journalist. And today we don't know the difference. A lot of people don't know the difference.
And Dr. Ruth, what would be your advice for members of the new media out there when we see individuals who may be advocating for a side, and they could end up in a situation like this as a seasoned journalist who is not, looking for a side? What would you tell those who may be advocating for a particular side when they go out and confront people like this and emotions are high?
Yeah, I think you need to present yourself as an advocate and say, I want to talk to you about this subject. But you're not talking as a journalist, you're talking as an advocate. You're saying, here's what I think. What do you think? And there was somewhat of a setup in this thing, but even the young lady who approached and did the interview, she didn't have any kind of preparation to talk about what do you want to talk about? That's one thing that you can always ask a person who's saying, I want to interview. What do you want to talk about? Who are you? Who is your audience? What's the point that you're trying to make? So she could prepare herself and not go into this hole. And then after she got in the hole, she felt trapped. So that gives you a chance to get your thoughts together on what you really want to say and what is the message that you really want to present. And so as it is, you can see that emotions started to run high. And I will also say, when you feel those emotions rising, it's time to shut it down. It's time to leave. And anyone can leave an interview anytime they get ready.
Absolutely. And Todd, one last piece of advice Dr. Ruth brought up. Should we, as man on the street, woman on the street, agree to do an interview with anyone who steps in front of us with a camera and a microphone?
We should, and on both sides. I can remember, the Cougars are playing right now, and I remember when the Astros won, a certain young lady interviewed a man on the street, and he just cussed. So both sides, you shouldn't just randomly interview anybody. And you should tell the people what we're talking about. And like Dr. Ruth said, you could always shut the interview down. You could walk away. You do not have to answer the question, or you don't have to answer it the way that the reporter wants you to answer it. But I'm always weary of live man on the street interviews because you never know what you're going to get. But this lady was trying to get controversy. And unfortunately, she didn't get the controversy that she wanted.
And of course, violence is always wrong.